Hi friends, I'm Flutter. Lately, I've been reflecting on how we communicate visually, especially in VR, and I'd like to explore that with you today. One way I think about this is through something called visual language. When I talk about visual language in VR, I'm talking about the consistent way a world communicates with the player through visuals. That includes color, shape, lighting, and overall stylization and how those choices repeat across the experience. Visual language is universal. It helps players immediately understand how a space feels, how to move through it, and what kind of story they're inside. It's the difference between stepping into a cozy, woodsy cottage versus a sterile office environment. Even before you interact with anything, you sense what is going on around you. In my own work, visual language shows up a few different ways. In the Dream Lodge, I use a transparent, ghost-like shader on certain objects. That effect repeats across scenes, creating a visual pattern the player quickly recognizes. It signals that something is otherworldly, possibly unreal, virtual, or in between. And it aligns directly with the narrative themes of memory and simulation. And it signals that you might have to do something sometimes. A pixelated visual appears during transitions after getting close to a standalone door, and the same idea reappears later as a particle system. That repetition reinforces how the world is constructed. This story is influenced by magical realism mixed with sci-fi, so it points to that too. In Shadow Mend, I used AI-generated skyboxes for the different dream scenes. These weren't shortcuts, they were intentional. The wild sky treatment separates dream space from reality and also gives commentary on AI and art. Before anything happens, the player already understands that they've entered a different layer of reality. This idea of visual language isn't unique to VR. I come from a film and video background, and visual language principles are used there too. When I recently rewatched Flatliners, the original from 1990, what stood out immediately was its consistent use of blue and red gel lighting. Without explanation, the film visually tells you where you are, whether you're alive. Red could mean like for blood running through your veins, possibly, or in a dreamlike state, blue, perhaps lacking blood, not alive. The lighting itself becomes a narrative cue. VR works the same way. Consistent visual signals guide emotion and understanding before the player consciously thinks about them. This is why consistency matters so much. When visual ideas repeat, players don't have to relearn the world over and over. Cognitive load is reduced, and the experience begins to feel intuitive. This is especially important in VR, where players are physically embodied inside the space. A strong visual language helps players feel comfortable, oriented, and present, particularly if they're new to VR. Rather than relying on heavy tutorials, visual language can teach players how to exist in your world naturally. If you're designing your own visual language, I suggest to start small. Choose a color palette to signal mood or function. Use shape language to communicate safety, tension, or emotion. For example, rounded objects can feel more friendly. Sharp edges can create tension or fear. Set up lighting that guides attention and reinforces tone. And most importantly, repeat those choices consistently. Your visual language doesn't need to be complex. 1 or 2 intentional visual decisions used thoughtfully and repeatedly can make a world feel coherent, immersive, and readable. These small, consistent choices build trust, and that trust allows players to focus on the story you're telling. I appreciate you being here and taking the time to think through this with me. I just opened my calendar for one-on-one coaching sessions. It's something I have a lot of experience with. I just haven't opened my own calendar, so now I have. If you have any design challenge or you're just a solo developer and you really need someone to talk to and you really resonate with a lot of what I say, maybe I'm the right person to take a look at your project. If so, book some time. I have 30-minute slots available and 1 hour if you have something more detailed. You can send me files ahead of time if you want me to look at anything. Also, I've had people request that I look at their portfolio. So it's like you can send me a link and then I'll be really prepared for our meeting and we can really utilize that time well. So don't wait. You want to keep moving your project forward. So yeah, go to that link. It's in the description. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'll see you in the next video.